I thought we'd get going. Good evening and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Major Applications Planning Committee. We have no petitions tonight, so we will just take the agenda. Can I have apologies for absence first, please?
Yes, Chairman. Apologies received from Councillors Duncan and Councillor Morgan.
Any declarations of interest? The minutes of the meeting, 13th December, are in your bundle. Can I take those as an accurate record? We are considering the 4 items that were on the published agenda. They're all in part 1. Right, that does the formalities.
Sorry, Chairman. Minutes also for the 10th of January.
Oh, 10th of January. Did I miss a set? Okay. Oh, I'm glad you're all awake. 10th of January as well. Can I have those agreed? Thank you. Right. In which case, Zainab will explain Sipson Recreational Ground, which is item 6 on page 15 of your agenda, please.
Okay, item 6 of the agenda is the Sipson Recreation Ground. So this is the site. It's located on open space that's used for football. It's predominantly used as football grounds. And the existing site, you can't see it very well because of the lighting, but it's a temporary storage container which is used as changing facilities. So and here's a better picture. So the proposal is to replace that with this shed here. This proposal is considered, it's going to be a timber story clad gable roof building. It's going to be in a similar position to the existing container, and it comprises 125 square metres with a maximum height of 3.67 metres. There will be no material loss in open space. The proposal is in keeping with the area, and the recommendation is to approve. If there are any questions, I'll take them.
Members, any issues with this one? Councillor Higgins.
Go with officer's recommendation.
Seconded. Thank you, Councillor Oswald. All those in favour, please show. Thank you. That one is approved. I move to the London School of Theology, Green Lane, Northwood, page 29.
Item agenda 7 is London School of Theology. The application is for rationalise. So there was an existing. So just taking it, this is existing site, and permission has been granted for 9 units. The proposal is to rationalise the internal space and create 3 additional units through rationalising the space. There was a application for 10 units that was previously refused because of the concerns relating to future occupiers, but this application, as I'll show you now, so this is just showing you that there is no alterations from the consented to proposed. It is to remain the same. This is the area landscape proposal to the back, and this shows that there's going to be a defensive space between the units at basement level and the communal amenity space that will be used by rest of the residents. So again, this is showing you exactly that there's no alterations, and this shows the approved basement plan. This was part of a masonette, so you can see the steps leading downstairs. This was refused because there was a bedroom here referred to as a study with only a very small light well. There's significant concerns about the type of unit and the quality of the accommodation, whereas now this is at ground floor level, so this is no longer a concern. It's marked as a study, but it's actually been assessed as a bedroom. The quality of space is considered to be far better, or it's a lot more improved, and this shows you a section that there is sufficient space allowing light to the basement units. So there is also a off-site affordable housing contribution. This has been independently reviewed by the council surveyor, and that amount is within the section 106 clause, and it will be. So the recommendation is to approve subject to section 106, and if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Addendum.
Oh yes. And there is a small correction to condition 7, which clarifies that there are 24 car parking spaces, of which 2 are disabled spaces instead of 22 and 2.
Members, Councillor Higgins.
Go with officer's recommendation. Mr. Oswald?
Yeah, thank you very much, Chairman. A little bit concerned about it conflicts with policy R17. Once again, we've got another development where there's no affordable housing. I know it's only a small development, and there's a contribution of £286,193. Where is that going? Where does that go?
Madam.
Thank you. The contributions are all pulled together to try and reinvest into council sites. So it's a reinvestment of affordable housing that the developer won't provide, but the council will spend on affordable housing delivery.
Thank you very much. Well, if that's the case, why doesn't the developer do it? Because all the time we get these applications, and it's the viability excuse that says that affordable housing can't be provided. We had one in last month's meeting where there was a load of properties. Councillor Duncan made the point on the night about it's in conflict with policy R17. I think sometimes that we should just tell these developers to go away and we'll find one who will provide affordable housing. Thank you.
It was independently reviewed by the surveyor, so I mean the policy, there is scope for a viability assessment. We do through officer engagement ask developers to comply, but I guess it's not directly in conflict because there is scope within the policy to provide, to independently review the viability of a scheme. And having been independently reviewed, the result was that the application could provide, in the region of 200,000 towards affordable housing.
If I can pick up on that, the registered providers find it quite difficult to provide affordable units in blocks that are very small, which is quite often why we accept the off-site contribution to put towards a larger scheme. And it's because of service charges, needing separate cores and so on. But you're right in that we should always try and seek in the first instance affordable housing on site, but I think for a scheme of 12 units it would require separate cores, and that makes the development more expensive.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I think I made the point when I first said it's only a small development. I mean, I'm not going to vote against it, but I just think it's high time that we started looking seriously at some of these developers that are putting these planning applications forward and they're not prepared to provide affordable housing. I just don't think it's right. Thanks very much.
Do I have a seconder?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. All those in favour, please show. Thank you. That's everybody. That one's approved. Item 8 is a variation of conditions on Airlink House, 1822 Pump Lane, page 69. Then you might just explain what the changes are on this one for us.
So this application is a retrospective application. It's been implemented, but the applicant seeks to formalise the changes. So the key changes are internal, where hotel rooms have been repositioned within the hotel. There's no external change in terms of its height, footprint. There's minor changes to landscaping to make sure it's consistent with the positioning of windows, and there's a few changes to windows, but they are largely to the rear and facing away from residential properties. There is a vent being located on a roof, but that's also positioned away from the residential properties. So overall, the proposal is considered to make minor changes that are not going to affect amenity, or it's in keeping with the area, and recommendation is to approve.
Councillor Oswald.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chairman. Yeah, I'm quite happy to move the officer's recommendation. Just one question about charging points for electric vehicles. I've been through the report, but I seem to have missed it. I've looked at page 72, car park management, and I didn't see it on there. Are they going to provide any?
There's no changes in that respect, so it's as per agreed in the previous consent. So there's no changes that actually require charging points under this application. So we haven't considered that aspect of the proposal in detail. Okay.
It's moved it. Thank you. Seconder.
Sorry, does those previous conditions not fall, though, this being a new application?
There's a variation, isn't it?
So that means all of the conditions that apply to the previous application continue to remain relevant to this application.
Yeah, Amanda?
If the development was larger
Yeah.
and required additional electric vehicle charging points, then we would be able to impose those conditions. But because the changes...
Sorry, through you, Jen. I think what we're saying is that they're not here at all. I'm sure they were there before,
But they're not in this
but they're not in this bit now. Does it mean what we're concerned about
They
is that have they fallen or are they still in the application? Because they were.
They should still be, if they were
Hang
there
on.
Okay, can we just-
previously.
Amanda's got access to the previous approval. She'll tell us. Like them quite so much, so that's why we find a whole agenda full of them, just to make sure that you have a good evening.
Question number,
Huh?
condition 6 should have been... They have been... Apologies, so it was previously condition 6. That condition has been discharged, so therefore the electric vehicle charging points should be in place.
Right, good. Answer the question. Seconder, I did. All those in favour, please show. Thank you. To keep the theme of the night, we have a retrospective again. Minor changes to Kitchener House, Warwick Road, West Drayton.
Yes.
Affordable housing question will appear.
Item agenda 9. So this relates to an application site, Kitchener House, near West Drayton Station. The application is retrospective, and that is largely because one of the units has, which was formerly a duplex unit, has been split into 2 units, now forms a studio and a 1-bedroom. The units comply with council standards. There are no external changes. There are no external changes to the footprint, height, layout, and the proposal, so the recommendation is to approve. We have had a viability assessment because of the increase in units, and the applicant is providing 25,000 towards off-site affordable housing contributions. This also forms part of their affordable housing review mechanism. So, subject to a deed of variation, the recommendation is to approve.
For clarity, when this was actually approved, am I right in saying there was no affordable housing contributions whatsoever?
Yeah, it was approved during the recession, so it was unviable.
Was it now?
We've now carried in.
Can I have someone take this one forward? I'll go on, whichever of you wants to.
I'll take it forward. I hate retrospective. Lucky they paid the money. Yeah, it's acceptable. I'll go with officer recommendation.
Okay. Thank you. All those in favour, please show. That one's approved. Thank you very much. At 13 minutes past 6. That's job done for the evening.